welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 249. Before we get into anything, make sure you are subscribed. You have left a review. Wherever you are listening to this podcast, make sure you are subscribed and you leave a review. I just want to say thank you to the kind of latecomers who've been coming on and listening to different episodes of this podcast. Since I've been publishing episodes on YouTube, I get notifications on whoever comments. And I got a recent comment from a listener who came across my video because he just came across this so in that episode I was talking about fetish farming and how there is this target audience that some artists will focus on to exploit, or like they'll create videos that are particularly heavily fetishized and like kinks and stuff. And there's this white girl, red-haired country singing group that does this, and I broke that whole thing down in that episode. And let me tell you what episode was that, but I broke that whole thing down, and it was very freaky. Like, whoa. First of all, fetish farming, I never heard of that term. I never heard of, like, you know, people just going out of their way to target a particular kink, or an audience who likes a particular kink. So for example, in that video, you see a lot of like latex, triplet sibling stuff. You just see just very like quirky, weird, oh, we're rolling around in bubbles, or oh, we're talking like little kids. And that is all intentional. It's not just like this weird random stuff. No, that's intentional. That's planned, because there's a group, well, more than a group, there's a mass of people out here who enjoy stuff like that and who pay big money for stuff like that. And so that is a source of currency. So this white girl, red hair group that I talked about, this listener was happening to be who came across their music or some content that they did, because they're very big on TikTok and they have a strong following, yet they're not known really much for their music. So when he decided to go on YouTube to kind of check out more about what this is, because he was kind of freaked out too, he or she, I'm not sure, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but he came across my video and listened to my episode and really enjoyed what I said. He learned from what I said, and I mean, he got something from it and left a great comment, and he ended it with, anyway, great video. And what I love about comments is people add their own thoughts, you know, their own point of view. And he gave me a whole spiel. It was a whole paragraph comment about how he came across my video and like kind of what led him to listen to this episode. So anyway, I say all that to say, I frequently get this. I frequently get people who come across my video weeks after I release that video, or who come across an episode weeks after I release it. It's like, where are y'all on time when I release these episodes? But nonetheless, I appreciate every listen. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Every listen that I get, I appreciate and I welcome. So thank you again, and make sure you are continuously doing that. Tell a friend, and let's keep this thing going. Let's talk about Sukihana. And what's his name? YS child. Hold on. Because these people, I don't know who they are. I really don't know. I've seen pictures of them. Like their faces are familiar as I've come across them on social media before. But as far as like what they do, what they're known for, what type of music they have, I'm not familiar. So rapper YK Osiris, and mind you, Osiris, Isn't that a name of like a demon? I'm sorry to be all morbid right now, but that's the name of a demon, right? Hold on. Or it was a god. It was a demon. God of the deceased. Oh, definitely a demon. So Osiris, god of the deceased, was the son and oldest child of Geb, the earth deity, and Nut, the sky goddess. His wife and sister was Isis, goddess of motherhood, magic, fertility, death, healing, and rebirth. It was said that Osiris and Isis were deeply in love. Wait, what? He was deeply in love with his sister? With each other, even in the womb. Okay, well, that's gross. Anyway, yeah, so definitely the name of a demon, and he decided to name himself that. Interesting. All right, so it's the thing with him. I've seen his face before, like on social media, like I said. He has a very cute face. Like, he looks like a little boy. Like, oh my, he reminds me of a classmate I had back in 3rd grade who I had a big crush on. I still remember his name, Deshaun Triplett. Imagine he's listening to this. No, but I didn't come across anything. I'm just saying his face reminds me exactly of Deshaun Triplett. Oh, I had a big crush on him 3rd grade. Anyway, yeah, so despite his baby face, he's a killer. He's allegedly, I mean, you know, a lot of these rappers have questionable backgrounds, and so this may be the case with him despite his baby face. Okay, so they were at an event. I guess it was some fighting event that took place in Atlanta. So it's called Crew League event that took place in Atlanta a few days ago. And during this time, you see Sukihana, she's in front of the camera at a table with Little Duval and 2 other men. Little Duval's the only one who I know, obviously not personally, but who I know of out of everyone at that table. So, okay, so she's sitting next to him. I guess they're doing commentary on whatever's going on at the event. YK Osiris walks up to Sukihana, who actually, her full name, because her persona in the industry is, hold on, let me try to find it, because now I feel like that's, okay, Suki with the good coochie. Okay, that is her full persona name in the industry. She flaunts, and I'm giving context here, so please don't say you're victim blaming. I'm not. We'll get into every detail of this as much as I care to, but that is her full name, Suki with a good coochie. And for those who may not know what coochie means, it's good punani, pussy, vagina, vulva, it's all of that. So she is standing on the fact that she has some good boom box, and that is her name. So obviously that's not her real name. Her real name is actually Destiny Lynette Henderson, and she is a television personality and a rapper. So she has a couple of songs. Again, I'm not familiar with any one of them. Anyway, so she flaunts her sexuality heavily. Every time you see her, obviously her name is flaunting sexuality, right? If your name is talking about how good your coochie is, it kind of calls for the attention of men who desire to want to know what that coochie is, what kind of coochie you got. And unfortunately, there are men out here who would see that as an invitation unsolicited, but in their minds, they see it as solicited because, oh, well, your name is Suki with the good coochie. You obviously want me to talk about or, ask you questions about your coochie, So, again, I think ultimately it is about how you come across. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that everything that is predatory or anything that is predatory done towards you or sexually abusive is warranted. That's not what I'm saying. I just think we also have to keep in mind that sometimes when you have a man who is not well trained, who didn't have a big brother, a father who was solid and taught them how to treat a woman, regardless of how their name is, you have those men who will see this as an advantage to want to push up on a woman like this without her consent. So in those moments, I say be mindful, at least. Be mindful of how you present yourself. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get into the details. So she is Suki with the good coochie. She has plenty of songs that just showcases what she does in the bedroom. She talks a lot about eating ass. There was one soundbite of a lyric from her song where she talks about the guy is eating her ass, and then she says, switch. I'm eating his ass too. Eating his ass too. Eating his ass too. And there was a beat behind it. So it's a song. So this is talent in 2023. So she is very out there, in your face. You want to think that this is something that is an act because she presents it so well that she seems like she really is about that life. We'll get into it. So she seems like she's about that life. Okay. There's also a video of her on her knees being dragged by her weave from a man, and she's walking like a dog. And I don't know if that was her song or someone else's song or if it was for a skit. Nonetheless, she willingly decided to go on her knees, walk like a dog while being dragged from her weave by a man. There's also a video of her twerking on a 10-year-old boy. Barely clothed, twerking on a 10-year-old boy. And look, I understand the dynamics between boys and girls are different. Men and women are different. There are only two genders. I understand the differences, right? Because oftentimes you have fathers who are quick to congratulate or encourage their sons to be sexually active at a younger age than their daughters. That's just, the double standard, and it is what it is. But I just think at a certain age, that shouldn't be encouraged. And I think definitely 10 years old is too young for such behavior. But again, you have this to be the commonality amongst many Black fathers, Black American fathers in particular, with their sons. So whoever was his father, whoever is that son's father at the time of the whoever was his father and consented to his 10-year-old son getting twerked on, maybe he was in agreement with it because it's like, hey, man, this is what you do. This is how you handle a woman. And this is, I feel like in his eyes, the father probably wasn't thinking this is inappropriate. Maybe the mother was cool with it too because that's my son. That's my son. Regardless, it was inappropriate. It was inappropriate. And shit, maybe if he was 15, I don't know. But nonetheless, why are you talking on a child? A 10-year-old at that. He was just 9. Ew, So I say all that to paint a picture, okay? So let's bring it back to the Atlanta event where she is seated next to Lil Duval and 2 other men. And YK Osiris decides to walk up on her But before he walks up on her and forcibly kisses her, literally he forcibly grabs her head. And before he does that, he's massaging her shoulders. He's also, it seems like he was trying to run his hand down her breasts. By the way he was massaging her shoulders, like his fingers were going too low. Until he finally stopped himself and then took his hand, placed it around her neck to forcibly kiss her. And this happened twice. But before that took place, there was apparently some flirtatious banter between the two. So much so that from what I gathered, she was flirting with him, he was flirting back. She was going on with her persona of just being Suki with the good coochie. So she was saying some things of the sort of, I could turn you out. Like, basically, I can make my coochie is so good, I can make you go crazy over me. Like, you can't handle me type. You know how oftentimes as women, we kind of talk that shit like, nigga, I could change your life. I could change your life. Your life has changed once you get a piece of this coochie, okay? The shit talk that we do. I know I've done that, okay? And here or there, maybe not, verbatim, but in my own way, I've done that. And so she was doing that with him. She was doing that with him and adding more sauce to it, of course, because she's very sexual. She puts her sexuality up on Front Street. And I think, obviously, with liquor involved, with just not being completely sober, you have a man who's fairly attractive, who may always get what he wants, in a sense, right? I think, and again, he has a very cute, he's a cute face, little baby face. So I don't think it's difficult for him to get play, to get any attention from women. So he probably thought, oh, look, I'm this pretty boy. She's definitely going to want me to come on to her. And so he goes on, proceeds to walk towards her, massage her very, very sexually, very awkwardly, in the perspective of everyone next to her. Like, I would feel uncomfortable because of the way he was massaging her. It definitely felt like, okay. So again, I paint all this to say there was in his head this idea of, oh, this is what we're gonna do. Like, it was understandable. So he did what he did, which was forcibly kiss her. He actually did kiss her. It was a force. She, after the first time he did it and the second time, she reacted with, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, awkwardly. She laughed a bit and kind of like, that awkward kind of smiling, but not really smiling type of reaction. And I understand that reaction. I'm not going to fault her on that. I think the comment on, oh, well, why was she smiling? Why was she acting like she was cool with it? Or not being as forceful and saying, no, don't, I think we have to understand that not every woman is comfortable doing that. And that comes from years of probably being conditioned to be the good girl, be submissive, say yes, don't stir the boat, just be this acquiescent type of person. So I think that is a lot of conditioning that is still being unlearned, and it's a natural reaction because that's what's been conditioned of her. That's what I'm assuming, because I've been there where I felt uncomfortable from the hands of a man and didn't know how to react. Like, I wasn't ever encouraged to feel all emotions. It was just be happy or shut up. Never like, no, it's okay to show anger. It's okay to show sadness. It's okay to show disappointment. It's okay to show joy. It's okay to show, that whole array of emotion was not at all encouraged for me at a young age. And I know this is a common experience amongst many young girls and women to this day. So I am assuming that to be the case for Sukihana here. So I say all that to say, look, what he did was wrong. I don't think it was at all excusable. I feel like, just like he said in his apology, because he ended up apologizing, and one of the words that he used in his apology was he misread the situation. And I think that was an honest take. Like, that's what it was. You misread it. And I think the misread is understandable too, because right before I walk up on you, we're having this flirtatious banter. It seems like you're into me. I'm showing you interest as well. Let me go ahead and put my hands on you in this sexual way, because you're already showing me sexual energy. Why not? And I think that is a hard line to draw, because at what point do we really stop teasing these niggas? At what point as women do we stop, okay, let me stop playing with him before he really thinks he could come over and forcibly kiss me when I'm just playing? Because a lot of, there's been so many times in the past when I've flirted because I was bored. Because I was bored. I had nothing else to do but flirt. That was my form of fun. So, of course, the man in return is going to think, oh, you're into me. Oh my gosh, let me flirt with you harder. Let me show you I'm a man and I'm really interested. Let me show you my dick. Men will take it there if you open that door. Some men would, so I say all that to say, if you're not interested in someone, don't fake the funk. Don't fake the funk. I really think that's the truth. Don't go out with, and oh my God, this used to be a thing that I would hear a lot growing up. I'm just gonna go out to dinner with him because it's a free meal. It's a free meal. I'm gonna go out to dinner. Might as well get something to eat. I'm hungry. And it's look, I get the hustle. I get it. I get, the convenience of it. But stop wasting these niggas' time. I'm being dead ass, because at some point you're gonna come across a man who's thinking wait, bitch, what? And it's horrible. It shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be. But I'm also coming from the perspective of you have to be open to how someone else thinks and work around that for your own self-preservation. If I know you want sex from me and I say yes to dinner with you, even though I know I don't like you like that, but I'm playing you, acting like, oh my gosh, you're so fine. Look at you in that suit. You look so good. Knowing damn well I'm not attracted to you. And I'm pushing up on your leg under the table, really making you think, oh, it's about to go down. I even invite you over to watch a movie with me, knowing damn well Netflix and chill doesn't mean Netflix and chill. And I'm just inviting you over because, oh, I'm bored, or, oh, I just want someone to cuddle. I remember a lot of women growing up, around me would say, oh, well, I'll just invite him over just to cuddle. He'll sleep on my bed to cuddle. Huh? He doesn't want to cuddle. What are we talking about? He doesn't want to cuddle. He wants more than that. I will want more than that. What are we talking about? And that's okay to recognize. It's okay to be you know what? I know he's a man. His dick is hard right now. And yes, of course, no is no. Right? No is no. If I change my mind, I change my mind, and you should move accordingly. I just think at the same time, don't purposely date someone knowing that you're not interested in him, knowing you're not attracted to him, knowing you don't care, and like you would like, you know, you don't care about him at all, but you're just doing it for the convenience of doing it, and then get mad. I had a joke in my head, but I'm not gonna say that out loud. But get mad when he wants to kiss you, you know, or get mad when he tries to do a little bit more. Now, of course, he should stop when you say stop. That's not what you know what I'm not trying to excuse anything that is criminal at all. I'm just saying that just as women, we get upset with men who waste our time. You wasted my time. If you didn't want to be with me, you should have never been with me. You should have never dated me. You should have never pursued me. You know, you wasted my time. I don't get those years back. I'm a woman. I want to have I want to have a family. I want to have kids. Right? Just as we get mad, a lot of women get mad when men waste their time. The same should be said in return. That's all I'm saying. Again, it does not excuse someone to be criminal towards you or do anything assaulting. You know, like, again, when you say no, you should have suck it up and walk out the door. I just think prior to that even happening, don't go on a date with a man whom you know you're not interested in, whom you know you're just using for convenience. You just want to feel the warmth of a human body on your bed next to you, knowing that he's so attracted to you and you just want to hold him like a teddy bear. Just get a teddy bear. Just get a teddy bear. So, God bless. Look, I say all that to say God bless. And I just feel like, again, we have to be mindful of our actions both ways. So this is what he said, YK Osiris said in his apology. He says, quote, "I want to publicly offer my sincerest apology to Sukihana. In an attempt to be playful, I misread the moment and violated Sukihana's boundaries." The Worth It rapper continued, "I understand the importance of consent, and I am embarrassed by my behavior. I take full responsibility and have made multiple attempts to apologize." He ends off by saying, "I have the utmost admiration for Sukihana, and it was never my intention to disrespect her." And I thought it was a solid apology. I felt like it was an insight into what he thought was okay, then realized it wasn't. And I think it was important for him to have said he misread the moment. He certainly did misread it because it was misreadable, right? Like, if we were just flirting, you see what I'm saying? Like, he's under one impression while you're under another one. And I just think we have to be on the same page. You know, we both have to take into account that if I'm flirting with you OD, it's not too offhand for me to then see you come up to me wanting to take this to, you know, just a slightly higher level. Like, I hope someone understands me from what I just said. I'm not, again, trying to victim blame. I just think we have to be mindful of our actions, all parties, in this event. In all events, this is something that you could take away and be mindful of. Like, okay, remember that time? It was years ago at this point. I went out with that guy. I forgot what I called him on the show. Something Bay, because, I was calling that's my moniker to call whomever I've had like a romantic history with, Bay at the end. So anyway, I describe him as someone who was slightly on the spectrum. I think he was on the spectrum, and that's my assessment. I'm not a diagnosis. Is that the term for it? I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I don't have the credentials to diagnose someone, but I know what I know. Working with students, bring it back to students. But, being in education, I see many examples of people who are on the spectrum. And so there's different like behavioral tendencies and symptoms, I guess, that support that. In which I say he was definitely on the spectrum. I think he was, I said he's something about him having Asperger's, I feel like. Anyway, not to get into the details of that, but we met at some club and he was very complimentary of me, was just like, oh my gosh, you're like, just like in awe of my beauty. And, you know, everyone loves flattery. So I'm like, oh, thank you. But instantly I was like, absolutely not. You know, in my head, I said that though, right? I said, no, this is not gonna happen. I don't know what we doing. But I think at that time I was just like, well, I ain't got nothing else going on, right? If he wants to take me out, why not? Let's go ahead. So again, that whole belief of, well, I might as well get free dinner. You know, that whole mindset. I had that mindset for a time and saw him as an opportunity to go ahead and get free dinner. Why not? And I was trying to be hopeful in my mind, like, hey, you know, maybe I'll like him after this date. But I know when I don't like someone, I don't like someone. Like, it's never I'll grow to like you, or this could be something. No, I feel it then, or I don't feel it at all. That's me. Anyway, so we went on a date and I'm like, oh my God, I really don't like this guy. I don't find him attractive. I don't like his aura. I just felt like he was very insecure and just didn't know how to be. And I like a man who knows how to be, which I just love that about Freckles Bay. Like, he is who he is. There's no like, oh, can you be this way or that? Like, he's just this self-established, confident, knowing man. And this other nigga was not. Like, he was not at all. And so when we went on a date, he was just very kind of like boyish, just very like immature. He had a missing tooth in the back of his mouth. And I think I mentioned it. I don't know how it came up, but I just kind of mentioned it casually. He's like, oh, he never saw it. He said he never really saw it as an emergency for him to take care of. I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh, a missing tooth is not an emergency? Okay. Got it. Like, it was just, like, what do we... It's the priorities, you know? So... Oh my God, I remember we went to the movies. I forgot what we watched, but we went to the movies and he got a slushie. And I just felt like, yes, this was a few years ago. So obviously I was a little younger. I wasn't 32. But I just feel like at any age in my adult years, right? At any age in my adult years, me dating a man, and I think he was a few years older. I'm not sure. Not incredibly older, but nonetheless, he was... Either way, if he was younger, I don't want my man drinking a slushie. I'm sorry. That's a girly drink. I want that to be reserved for women. Women alone. Unless you're a child. You know, you're a boy. And it's like, okay, fine. You have a slushie. But, like, I don't want my man drinking a slushie. What are we doing right now? I remember it was at the movie theaters. And he's drinking his slushie down, y'all. Just like to the icy part. Right to the bottom of the cup. And I was like, this is a large. How did you make it down already? Like, and I instantly took that moment as, oh, he's nervous. He's nervous. You know, he's a little uneasy around me. Maybe I'm intimidating. And I just feel if I'm intimidating to a man, this is not gonna work out. Like, what are we doing? Like, you should yawn around me. It's like, not yawn, but you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be intimidated. I just feel like as a grown man, you shouldn't be intimidated by me. Like, that's not the energy I want from a man. I want you to be a grown man, a grown-ass man. Don't feel intimidated by me. Maybe feel challenged by me in some ways, you know, but like intimidated has a negative connotation in which you feel uneasy and insecure around me. I don't want my man to feel that way at all. At all. So the fact that he was feeling that way, well, from what I could assess, just based off of this behavior, it just made me not like him even more. And granted, on that date, and we went on the second date. I did end up going on a second date with him because I'm like, okay, maybe I just need a second date to kind of really make my decision. Even though I knew. But anyway, on both dates, I did not kiss. Like, we did not kiss. I did not like stroke his leg with my foot under the table. Because on the second date, we went out to eat. I did not, I was very aware of my feelings and aware of his feelings and how it was a disconnect. And so I did not want him to feel like I was giving him a mixed message. Now, we went to the escape room I think it was the second date, or maybe the first one. It was the second date. And then afterwards, we went out to eat on that day. And it was a thoughtful day. I think I mentioned something about I like adventure and stuff like that, and I did the escape room before, and so he thought it was a good idea to go on it as a date together. And it was just like, we was on this date and like we're solving this like escape room mystery, because I don't know if escape room is still happening. Is that even still a thing anymore? But for those who may not be familiar, it's basically you're trapped in a room and you have to solve these mysteries, each one of them, to get you to the next step until you finally solve the last mystery at this limited time that they give you. And you see the timer in the room. If you don't solve it by the end of the timer, then you lose, and that's it. You just lose. If you do solve it by the end of the timer, you win, but you get like bragging rights. You don't really win a prize or anything. It's just like something that, oh wow, I solved it. So you just get bragging rights for it. We didn't win. We did not win. Shit was hard. And I think it was just us two. It was just us two, because I know you could share a room with a couple other people, but this time it was just us two. And like there was some moments I felt like he could have been a man enough in that moment. What I mean by that is, like, we had to go, there was a secret room in the escape room that we started in, and we found the entry to that room, right? And it was kind of dark in there. I don't know. I just felt like there was sometimes I felt like he could have like held me by the back of my like my back, my lower back, like, you know, or just kind of be a little bit more forward. Give me that YK Osiris. Give me that YK Osiris. Give me that. If you are enjoying this episode so far, make sure you have left a positive review on whatever platform you are listening to this episode. But yeah, give me that YK, like, give me that energy. You know, I don't know. Even though I didn't like him, even though I was not attracted to him at all, still be a man. Because that's why you see a lot of these fat niggas out here, they just stand in their, like, okay, cool, I'm fat, and, you know, and so what? I'm dope. I have a great personality. I'm charismatic. I know how to treat a woman. Like, they don't let whatever physical barrier that they feel they have to get in the way of them being a man towards a woman. You know, just being a man, period. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like he was too nervous and just awkward and weird. Anyway, so I ended up, after the second date, okay, we did go on a third date. I'm kidding. No, we only had 2 dates. Okay. After the second date, I did end up texting him. I was like, look, I appreciate our time, and yeah, I just don't feel an emotional or a romantic connection, and so I'm just gonna wrap it up here, you know? And he used to like text me like, good morning, beautiful, like during that time. And so after I said what I said, like, yeah, I don't feel it, you know, I'm just like paraphrasing right now. I definitely said it with much couth than that. But I was very straightforward. And I ended up telling him that, like, you know, I just don't feel the same way. And, you know, wish you well. That was me saying, let's part. Like, when I wrap up with you, at least at that time, I'm very much like, okay, let's move on. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, what are we talking about? Because in my head at that time, at least, there's no room for, oh, well, we tried the romantic thing, didn't work out, now let's just be platonic friends. Like, I just don't see that as a reality because, one, I'm going to always feel like some things you say to me may have an underlying tone of your attraction towards me and your desire to want to explore it further. Like, I just don't like that awkwardness, you know? So I just rather just never befriend you at all. In those situations when, like, you know, in those situations when we started off as romantic partners and now we're not, and now we're just friends, like, that doesn't make, at least fresh out, that doesn't make any sense to me in my head. So yeah, after I said what I said, the following day he's talking about good morning, beautiful again. Like, sir, I'm gonna have to block you. What are we doing? I didn't respond. I didn't block him. And I think after him realizing that I did not block him, after him realizing that, oh, I did not respond, he didn't text me from that point moving forward. So that was great, you know? And I just think, I say all that to say, I say all that to say that we have to be straightforward. And because honestly, had I been one of those girls who like, look, I know I don't like this guy at all, I know I don't see it for him, I could use him for what he got, I could ask him for the money that I need, you know, this extra source of income, like, I could have been that girl, but I'm just not that girl, y'all. I'm not a city girl. I'm not a 504. I'm not. I'm a 617. But yeah, I'm not that girl. So that wasn't an opportunity for a lick for me. It's just not, I don't think like that. So, because I do remember some things that he said to me when we were conversing. He was saying how, and he wasn't saying it in a pretentious way. I just think it just came up naturally in conversation. I just noted it in my mind. How he's a homeowner and he worked he was in the army, and now I think he was currently retired from that career, at least. Like, he could start another career if he wanted to, but he was retired from that career and he was getting residuals from that. And so in my head, I'm calculating, oh, I guess that's money, huh? That's some some benefits there. And I was just thinking that for him. I wasn't thinking of it in a sense of, oh, that's benefits for me. It was just, oh, cool. That's a nice, cool benefit to have, like, for him, like, in his perspective. But yeah, like, if I was one of those girls, I could have just kept him on my roster, find more ways to hang out with him, and potentially broach the topic of, hey, I just need some extra money, or some shit. But no, I'm not that girl. Especially, like, if I know I'm not into you and I know you're into me, I feel bad. I do feel bad. I do have a heart, and I would feel bad knowing that, dang, he really likes me and I really don't like him. And yet he thinks that I like him. I don't think that's fair. So no, that ended. due to my wise choice, and I'm happy with that. And I just think, again, we have to, unless you're a 504 girl, unless you know you about that life, you're a city girl and you don't give a F, and these men gotta pay anyway, they might as well pay for my rent. Do you, boo. That's fine. Do you, boo. And I really don't care. I don't care. I just think for me, myself, and my spirit, that's low vibrational. That's not something that I am comfortable with. That's not who I am. I really can't sleep with myself knowing that I'm using someone. I would rather a man elect to support me financially, however it's fitting, for me, in a way that's organic though, if I'm in a relationship with you and it just so happens to work out where you're able to provide me with extra income or support, whether I ask or it just, hey, here's some extra in your account, I know you're going on a trip real quick, let that be organic. I just don't like the whole contrived manipulation aspect of it all. And again, maybe I'm just not using my pussy right, but I'm not a prostitute, so there's that. Okay, let's move forward. I have this question here. Was I raised in a cult? Maybe I'll get into it in another episode, but I'm ready to wrap up here because I'm starting to feel some abdominal pains. Update on that. I know I talked about before more extensively on some chronic pain that I would feel. Well, if it's chronic, it's pretty much every day, whether it's all day or only in the mornings or whatnot. There is some level of chronic pain that I experience, and it's presumably due to endometriosis that I presume that I have. And these doctors have not been at all helpful. It's just, again, it's the same story, different book with that. And I even reached out to a doctor that specialized in endometriosis, and no response. You know how they say how the website, oh, fill out this note, put your name, email address, little message, and your suggestion on, or your which one would you like to be contacted through, email or phone. And so I fill that out, and that's been 7 days now. I have not heard from anyone from the office, nothing. It's at this point, what the fuck, So I think I've really just accepted that I have to take care of myself, not these doctors, not these specialists, these OD specialists for this condition. It's really up to me. And I think my best bet is to really make some lifestyle changes. And it's a hard pill to swallow because I do like my occasional red meat. I do like to indulge in some alcohol here or there, some things that I enjoy, but I believe these things are not beneficial to my health. And so what I think is best is for me to really commit to lifestyle changes, and not just commit to them, but just take it every moment by moment, really be intentional of what I eat. And I feel like I've said this many times before, and I think it's just, I have to give myself grace for that, because it's not easy unlearning some things. It's not easy adopting a new set of habits. It's not easy just not looking at the McDonald's that's nearby, or the KFC, or Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm even at a point where I don't even want to I don't even want to eat meat like that. The hormones that are being pushed in our meats, as far as chicken, red meat, of course, but chicken also, I know that is a detriment to me being able to manage my symptoms. So I have to accept the notion of I may have to avoid chicken also. Like these things that, like chicken, like anything that could be easily injected with hormones. And maybe fish is also easily injected with hormones, but I haven't heard any news that support that. So fish is my best bet at the time, or seafood in general is my best bet. So that's just something that I am unpacking and finally coming to terms with. And it's hard. It's really hard because there's a part of me is like, I want to be that little girl who didn't have these problems. Right? I want to eat whatever and not get a stomach ache. But whenever I want to eat whatever or eat the same way that I ate when I was 8, I would always feel an immediate backlash, like an immediate lower abdominal pain, extreme fatigue, like the list goes on. And at some point, it's like, when is enough? And I think I really have to adopt the mindset more of, you eat to live. Living is the goal here. I want to live a quality life, and it takes some changes to happen for that to be the experience moving forward. So again, it's minor changes. I mean, it's big changes, but minor in a sense. It's moment by moment, day by day, minute by minute, week by week. And then you'll notice that, okay, wow, I didn't eat red meat for 21 days. Oh my gosh, I did that. But like, before we could get to 21, let's get to hour 2 in the day. You know, let's get to dinner time today. And that part is the hardest. So, you know, it's great to have a big picture, a big scope of things, but it's also better to have the realization of the every minute temptation that is within the day. So there's that. And I forgot how I came across this Chinese herbalist. Well, he's not Chinese. He's actually a white man. And, but he learned his credential is from Chinese people and Chinese history and herbalism from there. And there's a lot of great reviews of what he has serviced his clients, as far as supplements and suggestions or whatever it is. But some of the reviews that I read, and even speaking to him today on the phone, were very positive reviews. And he's been in the industry of herbalism for several years now. He also mentioned how initially when he got into it, he was chasing the money. Like he did his work and he did it right, I guess, but like his goal wasn't to really focus on caring for the quality life of his clients. Instead, it was, hey, here, come get this meal, or not meal, but come get this supplement, come get this vitamin. This is what you need. Come get it, buy it, and boom, I make money off of you. But now, or lately, actually, or like for many years now, I guess, he's been more about chasing the care and the quality service and making sure his clients are getting what they need and being heard. And the money will come, but it's not about the money initially, because he made it seem like he got the money that he needed. Like he's pretty much, it seems like he's all set type of thing. But yeah, so he said that over the phone and advised for me to complete this online assessment. And the assessment was kind of annoying as far as like the stupid questions and like the repeated questions, like the format of it was just dumb. But anyway, I finished it. I'm looking forward to reading or receiving whatever response he will give. I'm not sure it'll be an email or a phone call, but yeah, I mean, that's another step forward that I had to make on my own. Like these doctors, I try to do it the right westernized way, the way that is acceptable amongst the masses, right? Oh, go to a doctor, get your ultrasound, get your pelvic like I've done it so many times that way, and it's gotten me nowhere. Because every time I went to a doctor, that doctor would say, oh, you know what, I don't really feel too comfortable with this case. Like, they're not too educated on whatever's going on with me, and they rather ship me off to the next person. So they will recommend me or refer me to someone else. Then I get to that next person. It's the same thing. We do the same test, and then they still don't know what to do. And so they say, oh, actually, there's a great doctor who specializes in this. I could refer you to him. And it's like, okay, cool. Refer me to him. I don't hear from him. Or not just that, I would request his information and make the call, leave a message. Nothing. I would hear nothing back. Nothing will come back. And it's like, at what point do I have to be like, you know what? I'll just figure it out. And that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'll just figure it out. And I also came across a tweet the other day in which this woman, she said how she cured her PCOS, which is, I guess it's similar to endometriosis. And she had cysts also, which is similar to endometriosis. And she said specifically she cured her PCOS. There was some people commenting like, that's not possible. PCOS is incurable, and you shouldn't preach that misinformation, giving people false hope. But the reason why she said she cured it is because she made lifestyle changes. And the key word here is lifestyle. It's not something that you make like, oh, I'll just make these changes for 3 months before my wedding, or to lose some weight, and then boom, once I get married, I could pack up on the pounds. No, it's changes that you have made consistently, and this is like your new identity now. You don't drink alcohol, you don't eat red meat, you don't you rarely partake in what you used to partake. And her making these lifestyle changes have made her feel that she cured her PCOS. She did not experience the symptoms anymore. And yeah, again, the backlash was, you can't cure that, it's incurable. What she did was really manage her symptoms better. So however you want to look at it, nonetheless, she is not feeling the achy symptoms of her condition that she once felt. And that is where I want to go. And she also said that her cysts shrank. They weren't as large anymore. They reduced in size. And when they reduce in size, of course, your symptoms will go away. And that has a lot to do with what you consume. And I just think ultimately these Western practices that we are conditioned to believe is the only answer is not the only answer, nor may it even be the answer, because ultimately it's about what you consume. If you're consuming trash on a daily and your body is used to it, it eventually, unfortunately, will develop things that are attacking your immune system, your bowel movements, your health overall. So it really starts with you. And I think this is a lesson that I had to learn, and that I have to learn, as far as it starts with me. I have to make the necessary changes accordingly in order for me to manage these symptoms that I feel on a daily basis. And I wrote these symptoms down, is in my notes. So I'm hoping that now that I've written them out, like, I know what these symptoms are, but I think sometimes it's hard to vocalize them, especially when I have these like brain fogs. That's another symptom too, actually. Let me write that down, because I get these brain fogs where I literally forget what I just said or what I'm about to say. And I'm just like sitting there, just like nothing, like someone just like cut off my throat or something. It's so weird. So anyway, I say all this to say, stop eating red meat. Goodbye. But no, I just think ultimately it's about being mindful of what you consume. And making that change is hard. It's not easy. And you want to just eat whatever, but it logically doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you really shouldn't be eating the same thing. Not everything, at least, but you shouldn't be eating the same exact thing of everything that you've eaten when you was a child to you now as an adult. Like, that logistically doesn't even make sense, right? Like, I shouldn't eat the same processed foods, or if at all, anymore now that I'm older, because when you're younger, I think your immune system is stronger just naturally. You're still kind of fresh out the womb. You still have your nutrients. But over some time, as you get older, your body changes, and what used to be rich in nutrient in your body is no longer present. Now you having iron issues, you're low in potassium. It's because you don't have a banana every day, or you're not eating spinach, and what used to be rich in you is not anymore. Now you have to be consciously eating these things to increase your vitamin intake. A supplement can't always fix everything. It has to be, you can't also and I'm saying this to myself. I'm not saying this in judgment to anyone else. I think I'm just kind of being a little harsh on myself, because I just feel like I need to just smack myself and get on with it. But it's not easy. It's not easy. So I'm saying that to myself too, like, giving myself grace. But yeah, we can't just I'm just going to take a supplement and then, okay, I'll just eat McDonald's all day. There's this new TikTok trend that I'm noticing that's been viral on Twitter, where I will see it, of fat people showing what they eat in a day, and everything that they consume is something totally gross, totally processed, and totally unhealthy, and yet they're just laughing, enjoying it in the video. And it's getting a lot of views. And I'm seeing this to be possibly a new form of currency. There is money out here being made that is so low vibrational. Instead of you seeing her getting her body right, finding ways to be healthy or just implement healthy practices, you see her eating shitloads of a Whopper, and gets so many views, therefore gets so many sponsors, and ultimately a lot of money, all because she decides to eat poorly throughout the day and put a video of that on the internet. So that is a new trend that is happening, that I'm noticing. And I just want people to just not be victimized by these things and look at their life. If your body is screaming to you, stop feeding me this, I'm in pain, maybe consider other options that are healthy. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. I really appreciate every listen, and I thank you again for your support. Be sure, again, you are subscribed on whatever platform you are listening to this episode on, and tell a friend to tell a friend. God bless. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.